Hi, this is Pam Himmerling from Paper and Mallet, and I wanted to show you the latest art journal that I finished, number 8. So I started it about a year ago, and I generally just paint the cover just to whatever, I don't know if you can read, art journal 8. And I always leave the first page blank because it's really hard to get started. I usually start somewhere in the middle and just kind of work the pages as I go. And I finished this last month in September, and I started it a year ago in October. So there's going to be a whole year's worth of art in here. So I'm just showing you the different, you can maybe see some things evolve. A lot of these pictures I've used or drawings and images I've used in my blog, some of which are just practice, like this crazy girl here climbing a ladder. Some are inspirational. This one, funny one, was of my daughter when she did catering and nobody could guess who it was. So obviously my replication of actual people is not great, but you know, you gotta start somewhere. So a lot of these are just practicing, and some are from classes. This was last year in October, a little girl trick-or-treating, black cat. So a lot of faces. This was actually the Christmas card that I made last year. I kind of did a mock-up in my art journal here, and then this is what I replicated on the cards. And this one was a mock-up of a Christmas card that I did for my husband's business. So I kind of wrote on here what the changes we were going to make, and then made it on in a different journal because I usually work out of 3 journals at a time. This is kind of a Christmas one. My daughter said that looks like me. I'm thinking not, but you know. Abstract, kind of just circles and colors. F, this was one from my journal for failure, actually not the other forms of F words. So this is another part of that failure, and just kind of, you know, encouraging each of us to move on through the failure. A lot of quotes I've done, mostly, like I said, for my blog, just to encourage people. Don't normally do animals, but that was a cute dog. I don't remember doing that one. This was one I did, you can see I don't know if you can see over here, it's kind of messy. I did with some pastels, and it just gives a really nice matte finish, which I really like. Not shiny. Like you can see some shiny from some of these paints. Some paints have kind of more of a plasticky finish to them. So this one I did with some, underneath I used the oil pastel. I don't know if I've showed you this before. And then I painted over it, and then you can scratch into it, and it's really cool, and it shows some of that oil pastel underneath. You don't really quite know what you're going to get, but I really like that look. This was from a class that I did. A lot of these are from classes, coming in and just practicing and learning, and what's for my blog. This one has some really cool texture. I really like to lay down paint and texture and then do something over it. So I'm not usually ever starting with a white sheet of paper. I have already kind of cleaned my brush on it, at least to kind of get me started. I just find that's a much easier way to start. And I actually like, I don't know if you can see this, but this texture in here, I feel like it adds something. I'm not going for realism, you know, and so for me, if I can have some marks underneath, it really adds to the dimension of the painting. Now here's a heart, something anybody can do. Any of you could draw a heart shape and paint it in, and this is just, once again, a bunch of different colors in the background and then a heart. And I just think that's really a fun, easy thing. Any of us can do this, can make this kind of art. It's not an elite skill or anything. This is from another class I took, and I like classes because they kind of push you in a direction you would never go. I would never have done anything like this, and obviously, you know, like her hands aren't the right size, but it's all practice and all learning, and these kind of things are really good to kind of push you outside your comfort zone versus just doing hearts the whole time. So once you're ready to move from a heart, you can start learning these other skills, and it is a skill. It's not like it's just a few people can make art. Anybody can make art. It's just you just have to practice. It's what you do every day, or once a week even. So once again, this one has a lot of texture, and this also was from a class. This is a famous painting, and of course, I can't remember, but this was one that we took, and we were replicating the painting. No, I don't think it was. I'm not sure. I think this was from another class. Mindy Lacefield has a certain look, and I really like her whimsical girl images. And there's a lot of freedom in that to just kind of create your own face. It doesn't have to be. There's a lot of rules and structure around creating a face, and the eyes should go halfway and the thirds and all this. But sometimes when you're learning, it's nice just to be able to go in and make the shape and put your eyes wherever and just kind of make the face however. And I feel like Mindy's classes kind of allow a lot of freedom and a lot of just learning, with that. This was another one from my blog, Windows into the Soul. I'm really liking a lot of really simple kind of flowers, and they don't really look like flowers. I don't know what they look like, but they're my version of a flower, and I think it's really fun, and I really like this crazy background with all the texture and different colors coming through. And I don't know, Queen, Princess, not really sure. She doesn't look very happy. Not really sure what that one was, but lots and lots of texture. This was something for my blog when 9 of us went on a trip, and 9 is a tricky number. This gal was supposed to have a hat. This is but it's a little, kind of over here. Once again, practicing, but, I think you can kind of tell she's sitting in a chair. I think that's a first step in the right direction. These two, I don't know if they're fighting over a gift or they're giving a gift to each other. Not really sure. Big heart, but lots and lots and lots of texture. So a lot of times what I do is when I'm done painting, like let's say I was using, this blue color, I'll have another journal page open and I'll just swipe the paintbrush over there. And then when I get enough, I might draw some lines into it, especially if the paint is heavy body paint, which is like this type of paint, Liquitex heavy body paint. It's very thick. It's kind of like frosting, and you can really get some great grooves and textures into it. This is another one for the blog, but I really like these square shapes underneath, and those little flowers, my version of flowers. Calendar page with lots of texture. And I do have a lot to learn, and I feel like we all do. And so find what it is that you want to learn and do it every day, just a little bit, even 5 minutes, just in a year. Can you imagine like what you would know in a year? I just think when I look through these, I think, oh my gosh, a year ago it looked like this, and today, if by doing this all the time, and I don't every day, but as often as I can, you do make progress. You can sketch things out now, and I don't have the same amount of fear. I do have some fear, but not always. Love that. Just show up. That's right. Just show up every day. And this is me some days hitting my head against the wall, just feeling, like, can't believe it. This was a cute one. This was, another one of those classes I took, and they had a little boy with glasses, and that was really fun. One, I feel like I don't really paint boys, and 2, obviously I don't really paint anybody with glasses, so that was really fun for her to show us an example of how to do that. That was great. And this little gal with a big head, but she's got a heart filled with hope. This is also, I think, Mindy Lacefield class. This was a class, and I can't remember whose that was, but it was a real, Wild and Free or something like that. And I love that class. Birds in your hair and just the colors. It may not have turned out, obviously not as well as the artist that was teaching the class, but I just love the use of just real minimal colors to create something a little more dramatic and fun to learn. I think that was that same class because we were just using a few colors and like the crazy hair and just, yeah, just practicing, learning. I think this was from early on. That kind of shows you, I'm almost positive this should have been earlier in the book, but because I jump around, I just choose a page inside. Then sometimes they're not, obviously not sequential. It's not like I work one page after another. Just, you know, more art journaling. Who cares? Some days I feel like that. This is another one of those that I think from that same class. And that she took a picture, or this was from a magazine, you know how like a couture magazine, you know, and she had this dress and the hair went, or the cap went up around her head, and it was fun to try to emulate that with just a few colors. And even though it looks kind of crazy the way I did it, but yeah, it was cool. And this is another one of from the class I took. Just, you know, what I like is, you know, as if it's more abstract, those details like the hand, you get the features in, but you don't have to worry about some of the details that you aren't skilled at yet. This just kind of, her hands just kind of drift off. And so, and you can see the kind of the outline of the feet. But anybody can draw a shape like that for a dress. And, you know, you can just draw that shape and then kind of mess it up with charcoals or pencils or something like that. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be perfect. So you just keep practicing and keep practicing and keep practicing. This one I took from it was from a magazine, and I was like, I'm just going to start taking images from a magazine to get a different look of a girl, because it's easy just to kind of create the same face and the same thing over and over again. So she was from like a Vogue magazine, and I just kind of copied what she was wearing, kind of, and her facial features. And obviously Edward Scissorhands, which that was really fun. That was from a class. Would never have thought to do him, but that was sweet. Lots of texture. Another sweet girl. This one is Brave. The Last Girl Had Hope. But Brave and Hope are themes I tend to run with, particularly on my blog. And this one, it looks like it was collaged underneath, so there's some good texture there too. Another Girl with Glasses. I think that was from that same class. This was the one where it looked like I was on drugs, and I don't really know. Sometimes you just want to go for it, and I think the under painting had like some cool shapes, and I just kind of painted those in, and you know, went for it. So this was the crazy I'm on drugs art journal page. This is the girl with the too big a head picking flowers. Those are crazy flowers again. But the great thing is just practicing, learning, going for it, and then you've completed a whole year in your art journal, and you can see your progress. So I would highly encourage anyone, even if you don't get one this big, just some kind of small thing if you're interested in doing this, and just do a little bit every day. And I'm telling you, at the end of a year, when you go back to look, or at the end of the journal, or when you go back and look at it, you will be surprised at how much progress you've made. Because whatever we do every day for 5 minutes, or 5 times a week, or 3 times a week for 5 minutes, you're going to get better. You just are. So anyway, I hope you had fun looking through my art journal with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.